On Saturday, West Ham United welcome Crystal Palace to the London Stadium in a game that's most likely going to be overshadowed by protests as West Ham fans express their disrepute towards the board at the club in a time where the football club is fragile, to say the least. Fans are unhappy, and Saturday could well be a flashpoint. Graham Potter will be looking to rejuvenate after a pretty poor game against Tottenham last week. Will there be a response, or will there be more of the same? We are about to find out. Sam is joining me. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Jake. How are you?
Not bad at all. And the old man has worked out the technology. Mike, what the hell is going on?
Don't know, mate. Nothing would load. I just had a blip.
All right, that's all right. How are you, mate?
Yeah, all right, mate. You all right, Sam?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Good.
Not bad.
Tell your dad he just sent me another link, but I'm in Saturday. So
All right.
yeah.
All good. We are here. Well, Palace at home to follow that pretty depressing display last weekend against Tottenham. We don't normally cave and give up against Tottenham, but that's what we saw, unfortunately, in the second half last weekend. Sam, how on earth does Potter pick up the team after that?
I don't know. I think time and time again this season we've seen that we concede a goal and we fall apart, and that's what we saw again at the weekend. I didn't actually think we were terrible as soon as Tottenham scored the goal. It was the red card that really changed things. And actually, if we down tools as much as we did against Chelsea, as much as we did after that point against Spurs, someone like Souček wouldn't have made that desperate tackle that he made. And let's face it, that's all it was. There was no malice in that tackle at all. But he's got a job on his hands, and I think especially with everything else that's going on around the club, with everything else that's going on with the protests at the weekend, like I imagine that they're going to be able to hear that as they sort of arrive. They're going to see it around the ground. They're going to be aware of it from social media, and I think it'll probably continue into the ground as well. I don't imagine that it's going to stop as soon as people walk in, unfortunately. And yeah, I think the crowd's going to be on the team's back very early on. I think that's a real challenge for Potter this week.
Absolutely. It feels like a real tough order. The Sue Johnson in the chat. Harry, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. That's greatly appreciated. Bye Potter. Say hello to Nuno. Well, he's one of the managers that have been rumoured to replace Graham Potter if the plug was to be pulled. And I've also heard today Slaven Bilic could be lined up to return. Maybe Sullivan has thought, well, the last time I brought a manager back that was here before, it went rather well in David Moyes. So he's hoping that maybe the similar sentiment can relive itself. There's been quite a few. Kieran McKenna, another one that's been linked, but I don't think Potter is going to be sacked yet, to be totally honest. Mike, can you muster any confidence currently?
No, I can't, mate. I'm afraid. But how many times have we been in this space where, must-win game manager's going to go? How many more times is it going to happen? And
you think this is a must-win or he'll go then?
I do. I think I really do. But whether they pull the plug or not, I'm not sure, Jake. But this is like the fourth, probably fifth time this has happened now. But usually we've seen the pull result out of the bag when it comes down to it, to these sort of must-win games. If he wins, can you still see things improving in the future? I don't think so. I just think, it's going to be tough for him, full stop. I honestly feel that it's just the whole feeling about the whole thing that has made it so difficult.
For sure. Look at this. Listen, it's good of Jake to keep my new studio tidy. The state of this. My new studio. Well, I can confirm to all of you that were thinking about it. Mike's on the booze. It's Thursday, Mike.
I know. I've just felt like one tonight. No.
I've had one as well, so join the club, mate. No, I can confirm that my studio will be coming with me to London on Saturday/Sunday, which is quite daunting. But all of this is staying. So when I return, I've got new in the studio. I can't tell you what that's going to look like because A, I'm not an architect. B, I haven't seen them. So it could be a white blank wall, or it could be inventive. But we're just going to have to deal with what comes our way. And when you've got a pretty face like this, it doesn't matter what's in the background. To be totally honest, and with the humour that I then it doesn't matter what's in the background around.
Yes. Say no more, Jake.
You all love my jokes, really.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, the football club and everything about the football club, the narrative is being overshadowed by protests and planned boycotts. And we saw the response yesterday, a pretty tone deaf response, I must say, to the vote of no confidence that was put forward by the FAB, the Fan Advisory Board. Now, first of all, that vote of no confidence was a pretty unprecedented spectacle to have. I think it was over 10 committees and groups together. It was a pretty damning letter if you read it. I mean, it was pretty critical of everything about the football club, and the response after a meeting basically was to state the good things that have happened. And absolutely, there have been good things in the last few years, but Sam, I sense there's a real frustration that is just reverberating around the fan base, and I think we're going to see that on Saturday. If things even if things go slightly wrong early, then I can really sense it going badly.
Yeah, and I think actually this season, I think we've seen a real difference that when we concede a goal, there's no cheering the club, no cheering the team back on. There's no like, come on the boys. There's no sort of really try and motivate the team. And I'll be honest, I've got to blame Bowen for some of this. Like, we all love Jarrod Bowen. He's a great player and he loves the club. But we concede a goal and he goes and stands in the centre circle and he waits for the rest of the team to come around him. That's not a leader. That's not a captain. And I think we're sort of we're missing that player on the pitch that gets the crowd going at those moments. They need us at that point. And I think there's been so many bad performances that the fans just aren't there at the moment. And there's part of me that for the weekend hopes that those that are just going to go in and boo, and I don't mean as in boo if we concede 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals. I mean, go in there with all we want to really do today is boo. We want to boo the ball. We want to boo the manager, whatever. I hope they stay outside because we don't need that in the ground. In the ground, we've got to get behind that team because that's the team. That's who we support. We don't support a manager. We don't actually necessarily support the players. Like, they come and go. The chairmans will come and go. The owners will come and go. The directors will come and go. But we're West Ham fans. There are some of us in this call, Jake, it's not you, but we're old enough to remember Terry Brown. We can remember really proper, terrible owners. We can remember those Icelandic guys. Like, we've been in such a bad situation before. And look, this isn't that. I'm not defending the owners. The owners aren't great, but we are not in that situation. And I just think at the moment there is so much. It's a little bit like what we see in the whole country. Someone says something negative online, everyone sort of gets behind that one negative thing, and they can't ever see any of the positive things. So I didn't particularly dislike the club coming out and pointing out actually some of the good things that we have achieved, but they've got to also be listening to what these problems are. I liked the banning of the half and half scarves. That needs to stay. They do need to do more to stop there from being tourists in the ground. There were a lot there in the Tottenham game. But also part of that is season ticket holders. They're not going to the games and putting their tickets up for sale at the last minute. It's not fans looking for those tickets. It's tourists looking for something to do at the weekend. And again, maybe the club needs to do something about that. And like, if you can't get to the Arsenal at home game, whenever that is, 6 months into the future, why can't I relist my ticket now? Why can't the club know that ticket's going to be for sale right now, so it isn't me relisting it 3 days before the game? Like, because we all know what our diaries look like. We've probably got a fair idea of some of those games we can't go to. And I know that's a really minor thing, but they've got to start doing something to look at those things off the pitch that they could do better, while they're going to stay in control of the club, because they're not going to sell the club cheap. And actually, I don't think anyone would want to buy us right now.
Exactly. I mean, to be fair, as a football club, who's going to want to? We don't own the stadium. We are financially maybe not okay. I mean, I think the stem root issue And people will happily, and and there will be thousands on that march on Saturday. And we've got to talk about it because it's very important in the way we're going as football club. There's a boycott planned for the Brentford Monday night game, and this is going to be a very big protest on Saturday. And if anyone says anything else, then they're kidding themselves. There will be there'll be thousands of people that turn up, and it will be quite a spectacle, Mike. The thing is that people don't disregard what has been done well. There are things that have been done well over the years, but the root cause is the stadium. You were there on whenever it was Saturday. In that second half, I was watching it, on a big TV, and I've been there when it's been like that. We were 3-0 down to Tottenham. We'd given up. The issue and the disconnect is with the stadium, and I know that can't change overnight. But it is a very, it can be a loud stadium, but how soulless was that in the second half? I know we were 3-0 down to Tottenham, but that's where people are sort of centering their frustrations. They just can't be asked to do it anymore.
Yeah, we've had great atmospheres in that stadium. Go back to the European nights. It can be done. It can be done. That place can rock, but it's down to the fans. And Sam said that there's too many plastics in there. They're not real fans. I've seen a lot worse than this, believe it or not, over the years. I've seen worse at Upton Park. I've seen bad atmospheres at Upton Park. But don't get me wrong. I'm not supporting these owners. They've got a lot to answer for. But Sam said it. Who's going to want to come in and buy this club at the moment? No one. So it's probably down to the fans to say, right, we got to do something about this. The place doesn't fill up until about 2 minutes or 1 minute before the kickoff.
And it's even after kickoff, really.
38 minutes, everyone's going out to get a drink before half time. And then what's happening now? We're losing games 3-0 and people are disappearing on 65 minutes. The fans have got a lot to answer for as well, albeit a lot of them aren't true fans, so you can understand that. But I swear there's a lot of true fans that are, that are doing that. They're drifting off out to get a drink, at half time. You don't see Newcastle fans doing that, you won't see Nottingham Forest, Everton. They don't do that. We've got a grudge with the stadium. We've got it. We've got to make the most of it and get on with it. I totally, some of the stuff I've heard about, the owners, I totally agree. They have let us down. And we need, I don't know, we need to be chucked a bone, something we can have a little chew on, to think that they're going to maybe improve the stadium a little bit. Probably their hands are tied and they can't do nothing. But, we need something to jump on. We need something we can grab hold of and say, okay, something's happening. But we don't hear anything, do we? We hear nothing.
It'd just
No,
be great.
I agree. In terms of...
Sorry. I was saying, it'd just be good if they did more stuff before the game.
Yeah.
You go to... When we have those European nights, and okay, we can't be in Europe every single year. We can't pretend that we're in Europe this year. We're obviously not. But there's always something going on before the game. There was a reason to get in there early. Last season, when they brought Antonio out after his injury, and look, we don't want another player having a horrific injury that we've got to bring out. But again, everyone got into the ground early.
Yeah.
And I don't see why there can't be stuff that starts going on in that ground 15, 20 minutes before kickoff. Why can't we have some music going on in there? And I don't just mean like DJ Wembley or whatever his name was. Why can't we have something going on in the centre of that pitch? There's enough space there for it to happen. Why can't, back in the, and I know you can't do this anymore, but there used to be the Hammerettes and stuff at Upton Park. And look, we don't want them back, but why not something like that people would want to be there for and would, there's a reason to get in there 20 minutes earlier. And while they're at it, they can sort out those awful queues outside, because that's the other reason, because people do arrive minutes before kickoff and they arrive 40 minutes before kickoff to get in 5 minutes before the game. But if there was something going on in that ground like we used to have on those European nights, and surely even if they just did this when we have not 3 o'clock or not 12 o'clock kickoffs, at 5 o'clock against Tottenham. We'll have some more. We've got the Brentford game that's an evening kickoff. There's fans that aren't going to turn up. They're doing kids for a quid, so they're trying to get the families in. Let's have some family entertainment in that ground before the game. Let's have something going on at half time. Let's get a kid down from the ground, from the crowd, to be trying to score a penalty against someone. Like,
exactly. You know, all we do is half time. We do a pointless quiz for somebody to win a shirt. Like, you go to all the grounds and they get the mascot out and they have a penalty shootout. And I know we're divulging off of the off of the point here, but I mean, it's just the whole experience of it. And then you have people, people moan that they've got to pay £6.50 for a pint, but they go and get a pint on 38 minutes because the football's so bad. And they're like, oh, I can't be asked to watch any more of this. And they go and pay for an overpriced, watered down pint of lager. And it's people are just fed up of it. But look, yeah, I can see it turning pretty nasty, if I must say, on Saturday. Our opponents are Crystal Palace. They've drew 3 of their first 4 games. They've beaten an out of sorts Aston Villa as their only and solitary win of the season so far. But 0-0 draws have dominated the rest of their start. They were in Europe this season, both the Europa League, now the Conference League. That's a whole another kettle of fish. But Crystal Palace, a good manager, Mike, Oliver Glasner. Somebody that when we played Frankfurt, I thought that's the sort of man we want when he was Frankfurt manager, and Palace got him. And 2 trophies in 3 months if you count the Community Shield with the FA Cup. They've had a brilliant time of it, and they'll be looking to push on this season, won't they?
Definitely. I think they're unbeaten in 15 games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've had a good run. The end of last season, obviously achieved their first trophy. They're on a high, I mean, they pack that little ground out. They get a great little atmosphere there. To be totally honest, that their manager he's worked wonders, hasn't he? I mean, he's got some special talent there, mine as well. Yeah. And they've lost some special talent as well. And he keeps...
Eze's gone, yeah.
Yeah, and his squad is so thin. He's only got about 18 fit players, and he keeps doing it with them. But, as per normal, we don't go for managers like that. We have to go for the ones on the cheap, I'm afraid. Like I say, we're not dining at the top table. But then again, Palace weren't. And look what they've come up with. So it can be done. It can be done. I'll take me out off to Palace. Good on them.
Oh, absolutely. A really astute managerial signing. As soon as he was announced, I thought he's going to do really well there. And he has done. They've managed to keep hold of Gay over the summer. There was heavy rumours that he was going to go to Liverpool, but they've managed to keep hold of him. Eze has gone, albeit. But they've lost players in the past. Elise has gone in the last year. And they've managed to crack on, and they're doing brilliantly. And listen, I applaud the work they've done to get a trophy and to win that FA Cup was brilliant. And most of us applauded that when we saw it. But if you're Oliver Glasner, who's a very good coach, and I am not a very good coach at this moment in time, the one thing you've got to be saying, surely, Sam, is if you get a corner, put it under the bar, because that's where Tottenham looked the most potent on Saturday, was from corners. And they should have had a penalty from one. They should have had a goal that was disallowed, should have been allowed. Then they scored straight after half time. We've got a keeper that's weak, and we've got a defence that is dysfunctional. They're going to have a field day.
I can't see the keeper starting on Saturday, but that's exactly what I'd be doing. And what's happened to us? We were good at defending corners last year. It's the same players. Like, what I just don't get it. But yeah, we were terrible from corners. How that goal was not allowed, I don't get it. I can only guess that because the ref didn't give it on the pitch, there wasn't enough to overrule it. But I don't know what he thought he saw, because I was in line with the play and I couldn't see anything. And I think my positioning was better than his, to be honest. But yeah, a corner against West Ham at the moment is a shortcut to a goal, and we've got Hostel in a few weeks. And yeah, you'd just be running down the wings to play a crossing to get deflected out for a corner. That's all I'd be doing against us. Absolutely.
And in the aftermath of the game last weekend, it came out on social media that we actually have a set piece coach, Mike, which I had no idea we have. We actually pay a set piece coach. After I've watched that monstrosity on Saturday, that guy needs to buck his ideas up. Otherwise, he's getting his don't come Monday, because I have never seen
that corner down our end, obviously. There's 5 of them guys lined up on the back post, and the
Yeah.
one at the back, I thought, if he gets it over the top of our zonal markers, which were all on the front post, you have we have Bowen on the front post. That's not a problem. Then we had 5 other defenders stood between the penalty spot and the front post.
And they all just turned around at the same time and looked really shocked.
Lob it over the top of them, and one of them's got a free header. It is so basic. It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. As soon as the corner was coming over, I said, he's got a free header here. Bang.
Yeah.
Poor, really poor. And the other corner as well was weak. But they must have had about 7 or 8 corners in a row at one stage.
Oh, yeah.
And I was shocked that we actually defended those.
No, for sure. Palace have got Europa Conference League football this season, so they will be playing Thursday, Sunday. But how far would we expect them to go? See, we've had experience in the competition, and then Chelsea went on to win it last year. Are you expecting, both of you, for Palace to reach the latter stages of it?
They're going to reach the knockouts, aren't they? It's not with the way the competition is now, and I think it takes away from the achievement West Ham had in that competition. But it's not a difficult competition for the big teams to get out of the league. I'd expect them to probably go out in about the quarters, just based on their squad depth. They've not got a lot going forward, and I wouldn't be shocked if Gay went in January either. It's quite. They've got to cash in on him in January. They can't let him go for nothing in the summer, I don't think. But I'd expect them to reach the latter stages.
Oh, definitely. Like Sam's saying, we had, when we won it, we had Champions League teams coming down. We had the Europa teams coming down. We were the last team to win it when it was a difficult one to win. Take nothing away from Chelsea last year. They win that with a reserve team, and even Palace, whose squad is not deep, they still get through. 100%.
Right, let's take some comments. Palace's team talk: run around, shoot, and put corners in the 6-yard box. I mean, it's not too much more complex than that, is it? Have some legs in midfield, get the corners, and put the corners under the bar or anywhere near that area, and you'll probably obtain some success, which is the sad state of where we are at the moment. But there we are. GFC, thanks for joining us. Hopefully we get a win. I'm happy with the draw. We just can't lose again. Got a season ticket with Bishop. We have. Would either of you take a point now if I gave it to you?
Yeah.
Probably would, yeah, to be honest. So bad it is.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Our home record against Palace is pretty poor. Away, we've done all right, but
to be fair, I think our home record against anybody is pretty poor.
Well, have we won 2 games?
2 under
games since February.
2 since February. Then that is really poor. I mean, Avram Grant had a poor record, but I don't even think his record was that bad.
Absolutely. Well, in goal, Sam, you mentioned you'd be surprised if Hermansen was in there. Fabianski was only on the bench because Wan-Bissaka, there's something not right with Wan-Bissaka. I don't know if there's a read into that more than an injury, but yeah, he made the bench because Wan-Bissaka was ill or something. But he's got a decision to make in goal, hasn't he? Does he stick with Hermansen, who is really not doing himself any favours? Does he go to Areola, who had an absolute nightmare in the, was it a Wolves game? In the Cup, did he play that game and he had a mare? Does he go back to Fabianski? I mean, there's 3 legitimate options there, and I couldn't tell you which one he or I would go for, to be honest. Mike, what would you go for?
I'd probably go for Fabianski, and that's how bad it is at the moment. But yeah, no, you can't put Hermansen's a rabbit in the headlights at the moment, isn't he? I mean, I feel for the guy. That Chelsea game's really dented his confidence, and he was just lucky up at Forest. I think I was counting the catches. He made 4 catches in the game, and I was saying to the guy next to me, I said, "That's 4 catches, isn't it? 4 times he's caught the ball, But
you've got a dodgy keeper, Mike. I mean, we were both in that away end at Forest.
They had, I thought they were just going to overload crosses to Chris Wood. I think he had 1 header on target the whole game, and that was it. I mean, Forest were quite poor, really. Yeah. They were quite poor. They didn't really expose it. Definitely they didn't expose our weakness.
And you've got a dodgy keeper when we were both in that away end at Forest, and every time he called to everyone, like took a sigh of relief, and was even when the ball got anywhere near him, everyone just seemed a little bit jittery and on edge. And that's when you've got a calamitous keeper on your hands. But Sam, Ariola, Fabianski, Hermansen, could be any of them, couldn't it?
I've put Fabianski down, but I just want to shout out that I thought Hermansen didn't play terribly against Spurs. He's no good for Spurs, but those saves that he made at the end were top draw. Okay, against the Spurs side that didn't really need to be doing much, but it was almost like in that last sort of 5 minutes, he said, "Oh, maybe we should go for a fourth," and he did make some really good saves and some multiple saves. But I think we've got 3 goalkeepers now who would get into other Premier League first team sides. We've got 3 first choice goalkeepers now. So let's pick the right goalkeeper for the right game. We know Palace are going to bolt it into the box. They're going to go for corners, blah, blah, blah. That is Fabianski's dreamland. He wants that all day long because he's going to come out, he's going to control the box, and he's going to grab the ball. And I think if we start someone like Fabianski, their whole game plan is going to fall apart straight away because they're not going to see it. I think if we start Hermansen, which is probably what we will do because he's the first keeper, they're going to go look at that and go, okay, we can go to plan A. So I'd be starting Fabianski. I'd leave Ariola out, put Hermansen on the bench so he doesn't think like we've totally destroyed him. But we need to get the big transfer fee off his back. It looks like that's really bothering him. Sure. And what we need him, we could really do with having another cup game or something, or some behind closed doors games where he just makes some saves and gets his confidence back up a bit.
It's a tough thing where you've got a keeper and a rabbit in headlights, and the only way to improve it is to play him, but it could just get worse and not get better. That's the conundrum you face with a goalkeeper. You've got to get a good one, and Hermansen is struggling. And when you get a keeper low on confidence, then to get that confidence back up again is an incredibly difficult thing to do. And then we've got an equally as interesting conundrum at the other end of the pitch, up front, where it was a bit of a mishmash against Tottenham. Füllkrug was on the bench, even though we thought he was injured. So we had 2 strikers on the bench and none on the pitch against Tottenham. I'd have started Wilson on Saturday against Tottenham, but he said Wilson's now fully fit. He said Potter in the presser today, Wilson is fully fit. Füllkrug, we're not sure. Are we expecting another false 9/Bowen instance, or maybe a Wilson or Füllkrug? Again, same as the goalkeeper situation, Mike. It could be any of the 3 options, couldn't it?
He can't do that again. I mean, Paquetá, he wasn't brilliant against Forest, but him and Fernandes, I thought worked really well together in there.
That was where we won that game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we won that game. Full stop. We were actually, putting pressure on Forest in the middle of the park. I mean, against Tottenham, with Ward-Prowse and Souček in there, they just lapped that up, didn't they? With the pace they've got in there, I got to be honest. I love Thomas Souček. I really do. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He gives everything he's got, but maybe he needs a 3-game break. I honestly, but Ward-Prowse, I don't think he's a starter anymore. He's got to bring one of those young lads in. I know they was only playing with Milton Keynes, Don's probably reserve team in the week, but some of those lads, I mean, they got energy, they got flipping legs. It's what we need, And I think Potter's, honestly, he's making a rope for himself, because if he plays those young lads and they don't have a brilliant game, he's not going to get slaughtered. But if he keeps playing Souček and Ward-Prowse in there, or Rodriguez or whatever, he's going to get slaughtered for that. But if he puts in a Freddie Potts or a Preston Fearon or whatever, he's not going to get slaughtered for that. He's not going to get absolutely routed for that. He might think it's a bit early for some of them, but how are you going to find out? How are you going to ever find out if they're ready for it?
And you look at that, whatever it was, under 18 or under 21, lineup the other night, you've got people on Twitter joking that could give our first team a run for their money. I know Fabianski's in there, who is definitely over the age of 21. He's double that nearly, isn't he? But
joking aside, our first team would have got on against them. Do you think they would have beaten them 5-1? I don't think they would. I don't think they would beat them 5-1. You got Callum Marshall who's hungry. You got all them players that are hungry at running round. I'm probably a substandard Milton Keynes team for sure. But hey, I don't reckon our first team would have beaten 5-1.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the concern that I have, Sam, before we move on to predictions in a second, is that obviously Thomas Suchek is suspended for this game and then the two after it. And I'd hope that he wouldn't, but this could, and I'm going to put emphasis on the could, facilitate him bringing Guido Rodriguez back in to that midfield. Now, I hope he doesn't, with all of my might. I hope he doesn't, but it really wouldn't surprise me if we saw a midfield of Paqueta, Ward-Prowse, and Rodriguez, or Paqueta, Fernandez, and Rodriguez, because he's got to fill that space somewhere. And whether he puts Magassa in there, which would be the logical thing to do, I've got a feeling Rodriguez is in with a shout here.
I don't think you buy Magassa and Fernandez to not play them. Fernandez knew the Premier League could walk straight into that side and has improved us. Magassa played well when it came on the weekend. I've not got Fernandez anywhere near. Sorry, not Fernandez. I've not got the
Rodriguez.
Thank you. Anywhere near the starting lineup, but I don't think anyone.
I've got him at Stansted Airport going, but you know.
Yeah. What I really didn't understand at the weekend is we had 5 minutes left of the game. And we had Andy Irving warming up to come on and to be substituted on. Now, God bless Andy Irving. Like, he knows he's only ever going to get 5-10 minutes at the end of the game. But surely that is where you bring on Freddie Potts. Like, he might not be ready yet. We're 3-0 down at home to Tottenham. Yep. You've lost all the fans. Like, there weren't many of us still in the ground at that point. There were even less by the time that poor Irving actually came on. Surely that is the point where you go, you know what, 10 minutes of Premier League football. Go out there and try something. Because if we conceded another goal and Potts have been to blame for it, no one's going to blame Potts for that. No. And similarly, what's happened to Orford, the left back, and like George Earthy's obviously come back from being away for you. Where are all these players? Because when we're down, that's the time where look, you know what, there's nothing else to lose. So I've gone with a midfield of Fernandez, Magassa, and Paqueta with the hope that we start a striker. But I think if we go back to the false 9, then there's a gap in there. And it's who we're going to get to fill that gap. Probably James Ward-Prowse, but I'd give him the week off.
In an ideal world, the midfield you've just stated would be what the vast majority would go with. But as we know, then sometimes what we go with differs from what the manager goes with, and we'll have to wait and see in that sense. Time for predictions. This has been a pretty pessimistic preview. That seems to be the theme through this season so far. And I'm stalling and trying to think of what Mike would currently be going for. And I've got something in my head, but I don't know how negative he's really feeling tonight. So I'm going to go with what first went into my head and hope that, you know, great minds think alike. And I'm unfortunately going to go West Ham United 0, Crystal Palace 2. But I don't think Mike's going to do that. I think Mike's got a little bit more confidence than I have. Yeah, Mike.
I'm going to go. No, I think we'll score, but I think Palace will score more. I think it's going to be 2-1 to them.
Going 2-0, 2-1, and I was like, all right, that's a narrow miss from me. I will get better for next week. Sam, can you provide some confidence to our defeating predictions?
Well, I'm not going to Ham loss, but mainly because I can't bring myself to do it. It all depends on the lineup. I think there's a lot of questions that need answering, but I'm going 3-3, and it being but only if we go ahead first. I think it could well be that we are 3-0 up and concede 3 goals, but I'm going for lots of goals, and 3-3.
I'll tell you one thing, I want some of what Sam's drinking on a Thursday night. 3-3. That would, we would all be having the lottery numbers off of Sam if it materialises to 3-3 on Saturday afternoon, to our all complete and utter disbelief in East London. Yeah, if that happens, then that's worth a point on me, and that is, that is,
That's less chance than winning the lottery.
Better
I was
say,
just gonna say, you know, Mike's experienced me buying a pint, but I don't actually think I bought you a pint, Mike, have I?
no, you haven't. You bought me a Mars bar.
I bought you a Mars bar and a bag of crisps once. Didn't I buy you some
Get
chips?
the bag of
Didn't
crisps.
I buy? I think I've got the picture here, so I must have the
Yeah.
picture here somewhere. Here we go. Yeah, yeah.
And they're
There
going
it
to
is.
tell the Mars bar duo.
Yeah, and it was a big one as well. That was like £2.50 in Fleet. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then here's this Greg sausage roll that I got him that was perfectly in date. And I bought you a Coke that was in Chelsea,
was
the most expensive Coke in the Premier League. I think it was like £4.50 for a bottle of Coke. Yeah, and you enjoyed that one. Yeah. See? I
Yeah.
treat my guests
I've
well.
got framed up on the mantelpiece, mate. Don't
It's got
worry.
it framed up there. Yeah, Jake bought me this on the bottom of it. Right, fun comments. Thank you very much, GFC. My favourite video is away at Arsenal. We have Arsenal away in a couple of weeks, and I don't think we're quite going to replicate the scenes of last season where we beat them by a goal to nil. But then again, we were equally as pessimistic going there last time around. So who knows? Who knows? And I would certainly love to beat them at the start of October. But thank you very much, GFC. That is greatly appreciated. 3-3 bet. Honestly, if it's 3-3, then I'm just going to copy every one of Sam's predictions for the rest of the season.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jake. When we played Forest, I had a little bet on us drawing 3-3 that day, and we won 3-0. So
we won 3-0. Yeah. Wow. There we go. What was going through your head when you bet on 3-3 against Forest?
Because it was about 66-1, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was definitely the 5 pints of lager you had talking, not the 66-1.
It was
but,
probably, yeah, it was after that, yeah.
Yeah. Are we all at the London Stadium on Saturday joyfully?
Yeah. Don't know about joyfully, but we'll be there.
Well, I mean, some of us are in.
Yeah.
Are in the higher echelons of the London Stadium.
Prawn Sandwich Brigade.
Yeah, he's in there with the board.
Yes, yeah. That was his mate Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my mate Dave Sullivan. Yeah, but
So you won't be on the march then?
I won't be on the march now. I will be inside the stadium in the box, actually. But yeah, I'll be looking down on all of you. Actually, I'll have to look up to Mike and up there. But really, I'm looking down in my privileged position of the box. But yes, there will be a vlog from the posh seats on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that experience, and hopefully the football can match it as well. Mike and Sam, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
No problem, mate.
And you never know, we might get a bit of positivity in a preview in weeks to come. We might need to have 5 pints beforehand, not one, but a bit of positivity will come at some point. We're going to turn it around, and we just need to kick that off, and hopefully it begins on Saturday. But yeah, from us, that's it. Come on your minds, and we will see you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. This is actually, before we go, this is my final stream from this current setup for a while. I move to Wembley on Saturday/Sunday, so we managed to intertwine the football in between the coming up. So we are taking a load of my uni stuff up on Saturday and swinging around to the London Stadium to see West Ham win 3-3. West Ham draw 3-3. I was going to go 3-0 and then went, no, I've got to incorporate this 3-3 in here somewhere. To see West Ham draw with Palace 3-3. And then, the next time that there is a preview, I will be looking out the window to the Wembley Arch, where West Ham will next be for a playoff final in about 3 years' time. Nice and optimistic. But this studio will be no more for a while. I will be back here, but it's all staying. I'm not deconstructing this studio, so Dad reckons he's going to come up and do the shows from here, which I don't know why you're all nodding your heads, but
that's what I've heard.
Yeah,
he wouldn't even have on the computer on. No wonder get this going. No, I will give him credit. He'd be able to turn the computer on, but I don't think he'd hack the old StreamYard lark. It's a very technical process.
All right. Yeah, he sent me another link, even though I just got in.
£3 not on me, that's for sure. I'm on a uni budget now, and that's even worse than my normal budget. So if you think I've been bad in the past, you wait till now. Ooh,
He'll be on the
Not
free
worse.
student. He'll be on the cheap student union nights, mate. Don't you worry.
Yeah, hey ho. Well, I'm going to need it with all this awful football that we are being subjected to watch. But no, yes, we will. Oh yeah, we've got a free drink at half time on Saturday. You know,
Oh,
in with my mate Jimmy Walker, and you know all of my gang. You know, so football's really bad. They can just soak up the free drinks at half time and
Not come back until the
cloud.
60th,
Sorry, Sam.
not walk back into the 60th minute like the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
can't beat them, join them. No, I will be there and sat down for kickoff for another really half-hearted bubbles. That is the saddest part of it all. Is the bubbles after half time. It is one of the most painful experiences ever, isn't it? Like at the start, it's okay, but the one after half time, oof,
Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful.
it's terrible. But on that note, come on your irons, and we will see you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Thank you very much, and hopefully West Ham can pull something out of the bag, or at least a 3-3 draw. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.